funny that it's gotten so commercialized. So Hawaiian lures used to be the secret.
Mm-hmm.
My brother and I grew up in Hawaii, and we went to Guatemala, and that was our niche. That was our little secret, you know. Some guys got different daisy chains and squids. We had the Hawaiian lures. But now any Dick, Mo, or Jerry can get a Hawaiian lure up from Melton's, and get our secret, you know, because it's gotten commercialized.
Oh, okay.
Different color patterns.
So that's what set you apart in Guatemala in the beginning, you think?
Well, I mean, every captain's different. They you know, they turn left, they turn right, they put the lure this position, but Hawaiians love the action that you put 2 feet higher, 2 feet back, 2 feet in, 2 feet out, you know, the little stuff, the color, a pink, an orange added to the skirt, you know, this added wiggle. So the Hawaiian lure makers had that niche versus everybody else had a mold craft or, you know, the commercial stuff back then, which was, it all ran the same.
7-strand and those guys,
7-strand,
There was, you know, but there's a lot to fishing particular lures a certain way. There's no doubt about it. And I've had some Hawaiian guys, you know, that made it for me in Madeira and stuff, and it was always interesting to see the nuance that they put into it. Some of it's a little bit of black science, and you know, and
believing in something,
you know,
You pull it long enough, you're gonna see fish, you know,
But, you know, there's all kinds of little tricks, you know, like, I mean, you can, you know, toothpick a lure to make it go one way or another.
Oh man,
when we had Bo. When we had Bo on the show, Bo Jennings, and you know, he's got a great pedigree as a lure.
Yeah, you don't have any goat stories, do you?
So
Bo had lots of goat stories.
I was a mate. I was mate for a year. I mean, majority of my time in Hawaii was as a mate. And toothpicks. I had a ton of toothpicks, but no one. I went in Guatemala running a boat, and my mate. I remember seeing a lure spin. It'd spin this way and it'd spin that way, and I'd tell the mate, like, adjust it. They didn't know how to adjust it.
Idea. No.
I was like, give me a toothpick. And bam, had that sucker running straight. They're like, how did you do that? I'm like, well, it's spinning this way. So usually if you're pinning the hook,
and create resistance, right?
Well, you want to pin the hook up to force the hook up, because the hook will. Oh man, a closed hook will, I believe, run down. An open will usually run up. So if your first hook, and back then it would be a double hook rig. So your open would be first and your close would be last. If you pin the first up, it would force it to run straight.
All right.
And if it peels to the right, then pin the hook more to the right to force it to the left.
I think that's a perfect time to say thank you, Mike Sheeder. Welcome to the Connected by Water podcast.
Sorry, that's too
powered
much.
by Joey Carty, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, and fueled by our very good friends at Papa's PLR Rum, who remind you never to be a spectator. We are drinking rum at the table today. It is the week between Christmas and New Year's currently, as we lay down a little bit of history here, and I'm honored to have you in here.
Glad to be here.
All the way from Guatemala, and thank you very much for joining us. I, of course, have my co-host with me, the legendary Captain Karl Anderson. We got Yanni here behind the turntables, and we have a guest bartender today in Lacey.
How's it going,
my
Dennis?
good friend Lacey. How are you? Filling in for Carlene today, and it's awesome having you here. So thank you.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad I convinced you to get behind the mic. So I won. It's cool. So thanks for sharing that. I appreciate that. I'm sure you're gonna be sharing a lot of things today, and you know, I want to start off this whole thing like this, okay? You wake up in the morning, you read something, you see something on your phone, right? But I was like, last night, thinking, man, you know, Mike Sheeder's going to be in the gallery tomorrow. I'm like, and I usually don't get like, I don't want to say nervous, but like thinking about what I'm going to do for this episode. You know what I mean? It's like, it's going to be like, man, I got to make sure that I'm on point or like this. And I'm like, but usually I step into these and I have nothing in my head, and we just organically do this. Okay. And that's how we do it. That's what the show's all about.
I'm good with organic.
But I did prepare a little something today.
I see those notes.
This is just one note, right? So this morning, I just opened up my phone and I saw this video, and it was from all people, Nick Saban, okay, which I'm not a big Nick Saban fan. All right, but
we're doing football or
no,
or fishing.
We're doing elite.
All right.
And he is elite, right? He's like best of the best here, right? When it comes to college football coaches, right? So he said something in this video that I wanted to get your take on. All right. And I'm going to read it to you. I mean, I'm kind of paraphrasing here because I was just taking notes of the video as I was going along, so it's not verbatim word for word. And it says we have about 5 choices in life. Right? We can be bad at what we do, average at what we do, be good, be excellent, or elite at what we do. Everybody has a choice as to what they want to do and how they want to do it. Doesn't matter if you have a God-given ability. That can probably make you good, but if you want to be excellent or elite, you have to have a special intensity in you. You have to have a special commitment and do things at a high level and a high standard all the time. Without that dedication, I'm not sure you'll ever get to elite or excellent. What's your take on that? Looking back at your career so far and all the great things that you've accomplished, and even this year being the top captain for the most Pacific sailfish releases, right? Being honored by the Billfish Foundation this year. That's an elite thing. All right. What's your take on the work that it takes that you have to put into doing and achieving this?
Well, it's not overnight, but I don't know if I can compare myself to Nick Saban or anything like that.
Well, I'm just saying that's the quote that really kind of triggered me. And maybe it was the word intensity that he threw in there, that really made me think, oh, wow, intensity.
Right. I mean, I guess when it comes to fishing, you always want to be better. I mean, I'll tell guys, I'm a charter fisherman, so I take guys fishing, some guys that never fished before, some guys that fished a whole bunch, but I got a new set of guys every 3 days, and I tell them, if you're not learning, if every day you're not learning something, then it's time to do something else. Even myself, maybe I've seen thousands of sailfish and thousands of marlin, but every day that rolls by, I feel like there's something new that I should be. If I'm not learning something, I should be learning something.
Right.
And there's like a mental clock happening, that fish came up on this lure, this teaser. Why? Whether it was the color, the sun, it was a rising sun, and the sun was on the port side, and it came up on a dark lure when it should have came up on a bright lure. It's always trying to better yourself day to day.
Yeah.
I guess. That's the way I look at it. And if you don't think you're getting better or learning something every day, then it's time to move on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I'm always drawing parallels, and this is part of the reason why I even paint fish in the first place, because I see a direct parallel between fishing and art, and to what you can achieve, fish after fish, trip after trip, versus painting after painting, or job after job, client after client, whatever. There's so many parallels there. And people always ask me, like, oh, are you happy with that one? Like when I finish a new painting. And, my answer is always like, yeah. You know what I mean? And people think I'm trying to act humble, but that's the truth. You know what I mean? I'm really like...
That seems right. Fishing. If we went out and caught 40 sailfish and 2 blue marlin, did you have a good day? Usually my answer is like, but it could have been better.
Right.
Could have been better.
Yeah. And I try to take something that I learned during the process of that painting and bring it into the next one. Like whether it's like, if I blended a color too fast, or if I would have just taken my time on that tail a little bit more, it would have turned out differently, like in the leading steps, because there's layer upon layer upon layer to make a painting. It's not just whip on a color and it came out blue and you're good.
Right.
Behind that one dark blue, there's 4, 5, sometimes 10 other layers of blue that built it up to look that way. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like when you approach like a big fish, You know, there's so many things that go into more than just getting the hook in the mouth. You know, and it's that's just what people see. They see the fish jumping and they have a great time.
They see the end result, not what led up to that.
Yeah, and it's the same when they're looking at a painting.
Right.
You know, and then but there'll also be times when I'll look at a painting and just, right as I'm done with it, maybe I'm not 100% happy with it, and I'll just not see the painting for like 2 years, and then I'll go back to my buddy's house, the guy that bought it, or something like that, or actually see the painting in the flesh again 2 years later, and be like, oh, that's pretty good, right?
Right.
And you're like, oh, I guess I did do a good job on it. And then so you could look back in your memories and just see like, oh, I guess that was a pretty good day of fishing.
Right. Yeah. No. Exactly.
But that day, you're probably just like, man, you're so fresh on everything that went into it. You're like, I think I could have improved there. Yeah, that's interesting.
Always room for improvement.
Yeah. So,
but looking back, like you just said, it's sometimes imperfection is perfection, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you keep a real detailed logbook?
As I do, as far as raises, releases, bites, stuff like that. But honestly, I don't, because I don't want to say I have too much, but man, I go through even a slow day of fishing. I'm sitting there thinking.
Yeah.
What should be I got this out right now, and I'm here right now. I'm trolling this speed. This ain't, but I should be doing this. Maybe I should be over there. It's like too much to log down.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, I try and take a mental note, but it's like I got a million different theories and.
Yeah, it's funny. Everyone's got their way. It's like we had Captain Elmer in here, Elmer Pilon, and he's down in Chokoloskee, and he's more inshore fly and everything like that. And man, it's like he's got a whole laptop of like every day in a spreadsheet of meticulous notes.
I wish I could.
Some dudes are like that.
I wish I could.
I'm not wired like that. I'm not.
I wish I could, but it takes the fun out of it if you're like logging, throwing all that stuff. I just want to. I don't want to say I want to wing it, but I don't know.
Well, I think
I want to keep the fishing, into it.
I keep the thing. The key word is fun.
Yeah.
Right. But for him, I think that's fun.
And again, if you're not learning, you shouldn't be doing something. But if you're not having fun, that's another one you should be.
That's probably the takeaway from that. I would say is like if you're not having fun taking those notes, then just don't do it. Because that's
Sometimes you overthink it. So my mates that have worked with me for years, I generally keep quiet in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I let them put out whatever they want. And then I'll speak up when I feel like
time to make a
yeah, you know what? I've seen enough over there. Or in the morning, I'll say, put the dark on this side, put the light on that side.
Okay.
And see what happens. And
quiet master guidance.
Right, but it's funny because now, I have a mate that's worked for me for 13 years. I don't have to say anything anymore. And I've never even told him my theory. And he puts the dark on this side and he puts the light on that side almost every morning.
He knows.
So he's almost worked into that groove, but I don't want you're like a mad scientist trying to figure out things and let things flow and gather information.
What's the old saying? You don't outthink something that can't think.
Man, that's exactly it.
Right? It's like
that's unfortunate, but yeah.
That's funny.
It gets embarrassing sometimes. You overthink it. It's funny. I've seen it before on a bite where it's like, dang it, why can't I get this bite?
Mm-hmm.
And I skipped over it. It's like it was this, but I thought of it at the beginning, but I didn't give it enough time.
Right.
Sometimes you just got to let it go.
Yeah.
And it'll show itself.
No, it's another painting parallel too. You could definitely overthink a painting. Yeah. You can definitely overwork a painting too. That's
exactly.
For sure.
That's where that comes in.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're originally from Hawaii.
Originally from Hawaii, right?
And you were talking before the show, Honolulu guy, right? And but you would fish out of Kona.
Right. So my brother, who passed away recently,
and I definitely want to mention your brother on the show today. Yeah.
So we grew up in Honolulu or Oahu.
Mm-hmm.
Kewala Basin is where he started off, and he brought me into that. And a guy that we worked for had several boats, and he would take a boat to Kona for the tournaments and stuff like that. So I'd bring originally my brother, and then.
Yeah, you started doing that at a very young age. So did you like 16, I think it was, something like that?
I think it was actually 14 or 15.
Really?
Yeah. On the weekends, my brother would, he got his first captain's job, and then he would say, hey, be my deckhand for the weekend. I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah, sure. With your big brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a tip included?
Yeah, right.
Actually, I think he took
I think
he took my tip, to be honest. It was a freebie.
Oh, that's funny.
So that's probably
You
the
pay
reason
your
why
dues, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
actually,
cool.
and I worked for Eric Resnick. He
Okay.
With Aloha Lures.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he
Smash bait.
One
of the all-time greats.
That's he took that and made it right.
Yep.
But he was a captain on the boat right next to the boat my brother was on. It was called Blue Nun.
Okay.
And he was starting off, and he needed a mate one day, and I still remember that day. We caught, I think, striped marlin, a blue marlin, and a couple mai-mais.
Yeah.
I think I was 14 or 15 years old.
It's funny because, you know the names, you know the guys, right? I'm so stoked to have you here today and like meet you in person. And, I wish I could say the same about your brother, that I was able to meet him, but, I talked to him a couple of times on social because he's a great photographer.
Yeah.
And I would always notice that as, artist to artist and all the great shots that he always took.
I can't believe the shots he got while he was driving the boat.
While he was driving the boat, exactly.
I don't know how that's possible.
I know. It was
so I would always admire that about him, and it's just like, man, how'd you get that? And we would just talk shop sometimes, and that's how I knew him. And because I noticed him as an artist first, and captain second. But that's just my nature, right? But I don't know where the hell I was going with that. Oh, so you kind of like, even though you know guys, you know their names, like I still wanted like maybe do like a little reading up on you before you come in, and I was really impressed. I learned some things this morning that I didn't know about you, about your all seas.
Unlimited.
The unlimited sea, the unlimited license, and that's pretty impressive. To have that, and then and it's saying that all the work you've done on the cargo ships in Central America, and and there was a comment in a line in there that says there's really no other captain in Central America that knows more about running the ship than you do. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, well, it's I'll back it up a little bit. It was actually when my brother and I kind of separated a little bit. Is he went the fishing route, and I mean it worked out for him. But in Hawaii, the fishing doesn't really end up paying very well. Right. It's not a great profession in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Okay. Why is that? Charter
boat captains have a tough life in Hawaii. I mean, I don't want to offend anybody in Hawaii, but it's tough. If you want to do what you love in Hawaii, it's hard. It's the rates are dirt cheap, but so he went that route because that's what he wanted to do, and I kind of was behind him. Saw the captains that we both fished for, that we either were retired Navy guys, a lot of retired guys as a second job, but the guys that was making it their profession, they were having a tough time. So I decided to go to college, but what's the best option? I went to a maritime academy.
Which one?
Cal Maritime.
Cal Maritime?
Yeah. Growing up in Hawaii, man, it was scary leaving Hawaii.
Yeah.
When you live if you know anybody from Hawaii that lived there, they're actually scared to leave the island.
Are they really?
Yes.
What about I heard about this island fever.
Well, it's
like,
not
is that like a real thing? Like where people like sometimes they just need to get off the island?
No, I think it's the opposite.
It's the opposite.
I mean, it's a paradise there. I mean, there's actually guys that I grew up with in high school that haven't left that island to go to another island.
Wow. They've never been off the island?
No, yeah. Why would you? I mean, you're living on a paradise.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's so growing up there, I don't even know if I had a pair of jeans or I grew up going to school with flip-flops on.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you grow up and you walk to the beach, or you take your bicycle to the beach, or you go fishing off the cliffs. I mean, you got everything that you need right there on an island. So now I got to decide to go to college, and I go to San Francisco. I was legitimately scared.
Like culture shock, huh?
Yeah, huge culture shock.
Yeah.
Fog. What the hell is fog?
Fog.
So now I got to wear a uniform. I had long hair back then. I had to chop that off. So anyways, I guess I did the long-term thing. My brother was definitely doing the fishing. This is what he loves to do.
In Hawaii.
So we actually went to Midway. So he actually upset our parents because he went to Midway Atoll, which was a huge thing. I don't know if you know anything about Midway.
Deal.
Yeah, big fish there. It's shut down since then. Thank God I did listen to my brother, not my parents.
Mm-hmm.
I actually followed him to Midway and was his mate for a season or two. And before I went to the Maritime, I could remember to this date, I was chopping my hair off in Midway Atoll to go to the academy. And
take me through that trip a little bit if you can. I'm intrigued on that Midway your time there.
Yeah,
right?
have you heard about Midway? Do you know?
I mean, I've heard on the surface more about it, and Karl definitely knows more about it than I.
What boats did you guys have there at that point? Did you have those catamarans that Roddy took and all those guys?
So there was Glacier Bays. There was 2 Glacier Bays for the giant trevally, the Uluas, and then there was 2 38 Bertrams. One was called the Yorktown, and the other one was the Enterprise.
Enterprise, after the American carriers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, you got.
Yeah.
Nice.
So John Bone was the guy doing the fishing there.
Yep.
And so he got a couple young captains. Back then, my brother was young, and so I got Chris Sheeder and Mike Strait to run some of the boats. And my brother said, "Hey, man, I want to bring my brother over."
Charlie Stuve was there for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I was 18. I just graduated high school.
Mm-hmm.
And he's agreed, go ahead. And I was supposed to go to the Maritime Academy. And I remember a discussion with my parents saying, "Hey, I know I got accepted to the academy, but you're going to postpone that for a year to go with." They did not
like that.
No, yeah, they didn't like it.
No, it was a bad thing. Probably the best decision that I made. The fishing was phenomenal. Just the people we met. I mean, there were some things on Facebook that came up that was remembering back then, and David Aitano was there, and
Bill Boyce, all kinds
Bill
of
Boyce. Actually, Bill Boyce, yeah,
Bill was there.
tremendous influence in the
couple TV shows there.
Right. I mean, it was. I mean, I was young, so I didn't know what was. I didn't know this was epic stuff that we were doing.
Right, you're thinking that's just life, right?
18 years old. I don't know. And the tuna, I mean, we could go out and catch 80, 100-pound tunas, whenever you want. I remember Chris going around them just to not hook them up. It was a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Hooking tunas was a problem because then now you're wasting time bringing in tunas.
Yeah, you're not fishing.
Yeah, exactly. When you're stopped, you're not fishing.
Right.
So, and the majority of the marlin that we were seeing were over 300 pounds. If we saw a fish that was under 350, it was unusual. So at that time, I didn't know why.
Sounds horrible.
Yes. And the inshore fishing for the giant trevallies was,
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, yeah. So I remember being at the house, the captain's house, when I had the maid's quarters, but that was fine. Chopping off my hair, and the next week going to the Maritime Academy. And I did 4 years, and it was funny because I remember planning out, saying, "You know what? I'm going to stick it out, do 4 years, and I'm going to go back and fish Midway." But in that time, they shut it down.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you stuck out all 4 years. That's tough, man.
No, I don't know. I just, I found a way there. There's wherever you go in this world, there's something to fish for.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So in San Francisco, I started fishing for striped bass, right at the Maritime Academy, and then I had a little skiff, a little duck boat that I would take sturgeon fishing.
Okay.
So that kind of helped me out.
Got you through. Yeah.
Yeah. When shortly after high school, one of my best friends moved out he went into the Coast Guard, and he was stationed at Alameda.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
On the Herbe Buena. right? The little island that's between that is in the middle of the Bay Bridge.
Wait.
What's that?
It's fun. What year was this?
Well, we graduated in '92, so it'd be shortly after that.
Okay, yeah.
So it'd be like really, we were like the 1995,
okay,
96.
I got in trouble a few times by the Coast Guard.
Oh, did you really?
College, I mean, got pulled over by the Coast Guard.
Oh, really?
Thought I wasn't going to graduate, but yeah. And that's a different story.
No, that's cool.
I'm in the Maritime Academy, man.
Okay. that was a story. If I get a DUI or a boat, it would have ended the whole thing.
Oh, I'm sure.
4 years shut down right there.
Gone.
Yeah, no, when he was out there, I visited him like every year. Him and his wife were out there, and I fly out there because we would drive then to Lake Tahoe.
Okay,
right?
Yeah. Tahoe's it's short.
There's a Coast Guard base on the lake because that lake is so huge.
Right.
So we would stay there in their barracks for like $15 a night, and I was able to stay with them.
Right.
So every year I'd be like, I'm going to come out every year and go snowboarding with you.
In Cal Maritime, the dock, there was a Coast Guard little boat right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
After when you finished Cal Maritime, what was your sea service like? What did you have to do to? How did you move on from there?
So that's when I found out pretty quickly there was, not that I'm a union fan, but there was a union that I could join and ship out. Basically, I could ship out when I want to. And rather than taking, time off from the contract, I just served the whole contract, 120 days or 4 months. So basically, I would ship out, do 4 months, and I'll be done for the year.
Wow.
So I,
opened up your fishing season.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Right.
So I timed it out for about 15, 18 years where originally it started with, I went back to Hawaii, did the summer in Hawaii, and then did the winter on ships. And did that for 5 or 6 years. It worked out pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chris, again, went for Midway, and he ended up in Guatemala. And he said, hey, man, Jim Turner, and I are open up a lodge, and we got this boat. You want to come on over? And I was like, well, actually, I ended up not staying 4 months. I ended up staying like 6-7 months on a ship. I was like, it kind of times out good.
Yeah.
So, I'll try out Guatemala for a year.
Mm-hmm.
So I got off that ship and ran the Intensity.
So when you're shipping around places, did you go by any place that you saw on the ship and go, I want to come back here and fish it?
Whew. Oh man. Yeah, there's a couple of those.
Where?
You got to tell them about how you hand lined a swordfish.
That's one place actually. But I don't want people to go there and just fish it before me, though.
That's kind of what I'm sensing.
Yeah,
we're all at the edge of our seats going, is he going to say it?
But the hard thing is for anybody to get there.
So the first place was when I was on a training ship. Bora Bora was pretty sick. I remember the training. Again, I was a cadet. And anytime on anything moving, I'm putting out a line. So on the training ship, anytime that ship was going below 10 knots, I had hand lines going out and around Bora Bora. Some big fish came up there.
Wow.
But where Lacey was going at was I haven't shipped out in a couple years for personal reasons, but before that I was on a ship that was in the Indian Ocean. Took over the route for Alabama. I don't know if you guys saw that movie.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
So they were the guys on that ship were talking about how they got several routes that are 8-9 knots, which is very unusual for a commercial ship to go that slow.
Yeah.
And they were hand lining. They were putting out lines and they were seeing fish. So I ended up going there and the fishing's great, but the spot that Lacey was talking about was Kenya and Tanzania. Yeah.
Tanzania. Wow.
Yeah. The fishing in that area.
And your hand line on the sword?
So yeah, it was all hand lining when you're underway, but the swordfish was not underway. That was drifting. It was kind of a special circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to get anybody fired, but so the captain on that ship, there's always two captains, but that one captain liked to fish. Not giving out any names, but when it comes to we'd leave Salalah, Oman, and it's the same route that the Alabama did.
Yeah.
To go down to Tanzania first, but we'd end up showing up early to drop the hook and sit at anchor for a week or two, because you got to show up early, basically take a card,
get clearance,
wait in line, because they're so messed up that there's ships backed up. They've been backed up for years.
Okay. Is that north of Zanzibar where you were?
South of Zanzibar. Man, how do you know that area? Yeah.
Pay attention.
Yeah.
Carl
knows a lot of things and a lot of people. He's been around the block.
Probably a Tenacious D song.
Always looking.
So anyways, you go up, you show up, now you take your number to sit in line to get the dock space, but there's a ship at dock and there's other ships now waiting at anchor, as a container ship. So it ends up being about a week at anchor that you sit there and wait. Well, from other clients and friends, I've heard, and reading Marlin Mag and stuff like that, Kenya, Tanzania is known for swordfish and trolling at night, and trolling like surface trolling, and seeing, several to 20, 30 swords.
I instantly think about like sword on fly when I hear that.
Oh,
every
time. That's where. Yes, that's
right?
That's where you would go.
Every time I hear that, like the sword coming up to the top, I'm like, throw a fly.
I'm Guatemala. Half of my trips are fly fishing.
Right.
So I've already
for
years I've already thought of trying to coerce clients to go to Zanzibar, actually, because Zanzibar is a place to leave.
And the boats are there.
There's
infrastructure there.
Yeah. Apparently, you've been doing your research.
Yeah. I have.
So, anyways.
Geography's my thing.
It is.
Tanzania, which Zanzibar is actually in between Kenya and Tanzania, Zanzibar, right there. So I convinced the captain, say, hey, man, rather than going to anchor, or we go to anchor, let's leave and go to the edge while we're waiting in line, Well, so anyways, we pull the hook, we go off, about 6 miles off the edge. I had used twist locks for leads. I used little kids, glow sticks, some hooks, some whatever I could piece together.
Right.
Tuna cord. This first night, he's like, "Are you promise me we're gonna catch a sword?" I'm like, "I can't promise you. I don't know what I'm doing, to be honest. And I'm not a sword fisherman. I'm just making this. To be honest, I'm making this shit up.
Right.
I just know there's supposed to be swordfish." And
something glowing.
I don't know, man. I just want to do it.
There's a purple monster down there somewhere.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's gonna see this light and he's gonna bite it.
So it was like 8:00, and he told me, "Where do we go?" And I'm like, "The stuff I read, you're supposed to go 1,500 feet." Again, I don't know much, but And he stops the ship. Radio's down. This is where you put the X on the chart. Let's do it. And the ship's got a crew of 22, 23. Every single crew member was on the aft deck watching me put my first bait. I'm like, dude, guys, go to bed. It's not going to happen like this. It's not like you just put the bait in the water and we're going to catch a swordfish. And literally, making a long story short, in the first 10 minutes,
you're hooked up.
We hooked up. I'm literally lowering the bait down and I feel it bite. And I'm like, hey, guys, I think I've just got bit. And they start laughing. And so I'm like, no, okay. I lower it down some more.
So what are you fishing, like 400 pound? What do you got? What line are you using?
So at that time, I think I was using 4. Because when we're trolling, I was using 650.
Yes.
But I figured, maybe I should downsize a little bit.
Yeah,
got
to get a light leader to get the bite.
400.
Got to get the bite, man.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. But again, I was just lowering down. I felt that tugs, the wax. Again, I got a cord on and I'm I feel the wax and it goes away, and then I lower it down and it goes wax again. And then I lower it down the third time, and the 20-pound twist lock that I was using, I had a 60-pound floss. Figure it would break away.
Sure.
It broke away. I felt the third time the tug, and the lead was gone. I'm like, okay, I guess something alive down there is trying to eat this, but I have zero pressure. Again, I'm not a sword fisherman, but I've read enough and heard enough that swordfish usually do a kamikaze thing. I mean, I don't know. So I got a decision to make. Do I let it sit, or do I go kamikaze myself and start pulling all this line in? So I start chucking this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, as quick as I can. I mean, cord is flying all over. The crew members are laughing at me. As soon as I see the light where I should be, comes tight. And now, 30, 40 minutes later, we got a swordfish. Had to deal with all the barbed wire and all the crap. But
did you have a big long gaff? I mean, come on.
Right.
Did you use a bridge gaff? I mean, come on.
Just go to that saying we have a swordfish.
It's not exactly like you're fishing on a 37 Rybovich here.
Right. So of course, I was a little bit...
So you wear a straw hat? I mean, what's going on, old man in the sea? Let's have it.
So of course I had it planned that, well, actually they had a gaff beforehand for the hand lining. There was for the twist locks on a container ship. To open up the twist locks, there's a 30-foot pole to open up the twist. It's this pigtail. That's another story, but they actually made one of those poles and put a little gaff on the end of it. I actually beforehand had the engineers make a fly gaff. I mean, it was like a 1.5-foot gap with stainless steel, double reinforced,
back-banded,
right, yeah, exactly,
ready to roll, yeah,
and with a line attached to it all the way up, 40 feet, and duct tape the gap. So we're ready.
But didn't they gaff it in the tail?
Well, that was a different fish. So that was the very first night.
Okay.
Very first.
How
night.
big is this sword?
So that one was like 80 pounds.
Okay.
And we ended up catching 3 that night.
Wow.
So now we're sold. It's like, okay, this is for real.
We're on.
Yeah.
So you start up in your game a little bit.
So, well, that whole trip, I did my 4 months because we were only in Tanzania for that short time, blah, blah. So the following year, I did a bit more research and I traveled back to the ship with some LP lights and some fluorocarbon and some, it's time to pick it up a little bit.
Sure.
Right? And
did you get expense money back from the shipping company on that because you were feeding the crew? I know how a charter fisherman thinks.
I'm trying to not get this guy fired, man.
That's great.
So actually, technically, I mean, if you calculate how much a ship to come off anchor, and go 12 miles offshore, it's kind of expensive. So I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
Easy, this will make it online.
Yeah. It's probably more expensive than the fish is worth. So I forget who I contacted, but they had a lot of experience in Kenya, Tanzania. I told them that we spend more time in Tanzania than Kenya. He says, well, if you're there, go to this place, this island called Latham Island, and that was, I think it was like 20 some odd miles south.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, that's
you gotta run.
That's too far, man.
Yeah,
we can. I mean, to be honest, the company would. I mean, just what we were doing, we were basically not that we would do this, but we wouldn't change the AIS from anchor to underway, so that if the company would look, it's like, oh, they're still at anchor. They're not going to zoom in on the satellite chart and see that we're 6 miles offshore because you got to zoom in too far. We're taking that calculated risk, but 20 miles, that's a bit too much.
That's a hike.
Yeah. So anyways, we do that.
But you did it.
Yeah, we did it. Yeah, we did it. Hey, that's the place to be. That's where we go, right?
Sure.
So we take that calculated risk. We're taking arrival in Tanzania. And our calculated risk was just to say that we told the port authority we're dropping the hook. Well, we didn't drop the hook. We went south, and so we just checked in and just went straight south to Tanzania, or not Tanzania, sorry, Latham Island. And we started fishing, and the same thing. Started fishing. I got one line out, and what we were using.
Now you're getting brave.
Yeah. So now we have to catch something, right? The second try
we're putting 2 lines out. I mean, you got what, 500 feet of ship. I mean, cover some ground.
Yeah. Well, I had to put everything aft, but yeah. So the way I was doing it, I don't know if this is the proper way to do it. I was just making it up.
Mm-hmm.
So most of those we had to fish on the surface. Can't go to the bottom. It's too much cord. They got the Spectra and stuff.
Yeah.
I can't use Spectra.
Yeah.
So I was using cord stuff on the surface. I was using those boat fenders, those orange
polyballs.
Yeah, those big 40.
A5.
Yeah, the big ones.
Yeah, the A5s. Yeah.
As bobbers. So I drop it. I drop one down at 100 feet, another at 200 or 300 feet. But I was dropping one down, got the polyball going, and got that away from the ship. Was doing my second one. As soon as I got the second one set up, I could see the ball moving around. I'm like, well, shit, something's messing around with this thing. Now I'm pulling it back in. I'm like, man, this doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel like I'm using giant squid. And I end up saying, screw it, let me check it. I pull it in, and it's a big old ribbon fish.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you ever.
So you use it.
Well, no, I don't know if you ever seen a ribbon fish before, but they're kind of scary looking.
Yeah, no.
Again, I've never touched one before, but they literally look like a mirror.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're a thin eel.
Yeah.
Growing in Hawaii, I don't like eels, and they got big old teeth, and it's hooked on this 12-0 hook. And I was using giant squid, and I'm like looking at the squid, and the majority of squid is gone. I'm like, well, how does this skinny ass ribbon fish take all this squid away? And I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, maybe it was second in line. And right there out of the corner of my eye, the first bait with the polyball started moving around. I'm like, okay, here we go. I start pulling on that. I'm like, well, something's there. It's like it loads up with pressure as more I pull. So I'm like, okay, something's there. And I tell the guys, okay, I think we got a swordfish here. It's a small one. And we get the gaff ready, and again, the crew's all out there watching. And as soon as I get the LP light, I'm using the LP light now, not a little kids thing. As soon as I could see that light, man, that fish took off straight down. And I had like 400 feet of cord, and that cord just went into the water. It like matter of 30 seconds. And thank God the crew was out there, because I'm yelling out, put the other cord on there.
Yeah. Tie up.
So we tied that on. All that's gone. Tie another one on. All that's gone.
Come on.
3 cords. So it's
1,200 feet?
More than 1,200 feet. Just down. So I'm like, okay, now we got something big here. I don't know. Get it. Yeah, pull it up. It's about 45 minutes to an hour. We get it pulled up.
Only? That's impressive.
Yeah. And get it up where I, again, see the light. I'm like, okay, it's on the light. Get the gaff ready. No, man, he wasn't ready. He went straight down again. The whole line, everything down. Second time. You had to pull him back up. Again, another 45 minutes. Get him back up. Well, this time, I was like, okay, we should be seeing a light soon. Tie the volleyball back on. Because originally we
let him fight the towel.
Yeah, so we put the ball on, and again, take it out. Okay, go.
Yeah, let him.
You want to play? Let's play.
Let him fight the ball. Yeah,
and that's like 35, 40 pounds of pressure. The flotation. That ball just go bloop 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 bloop. It's gone. Wow. And again, I'm like, Jesus. So now we're fighting back and forth. We're tired. The guys are tired. So we get it back up. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. If we lose it, we lose it. We don't tie another top polyball in there. We're talking about 70 pounds of pressure. both balls go bloop.
Chief rodeo board.
It was funny because the chief mate said as soon as he saw both balls go down, it's like, I think we need a bigger boat.
Yeah.
And we're like, everybody just started laughing. Thank God. But no, the 2 balls eventually worked and we got them up, and then finally saw the fish and we had the gaff ready. Thank God we had the flying gaff ready.
Yeah.
The captain was on that. And I'm like, okay, just sink them in the head. We all learn. The swell's up and the ship's down. It is, and then he ends up gaffing it in the tail. I remember screaming. I'm like, God, now we can't get the gaff out because there's a bar on it. Like we're.
So this thing's got a gaff sticking in its tail the whole time.
So it was actually towards the tail is actually a harder meat.
Right.
So I think it actually ended up being the better spot, and we took that up. A couple stories and like 15 crew members, and we just pulled it up as quick as we could. The gaff actually bent out, but thank God it was quick enough. And
how far from a water line to the deck?
Yeah, seriously.
I don't know. That's like
32 feet.
Yeah. How'd you come up with
Somewhere
32? But yeah, 30 feet
Sounds about
was
right.
probably easy. Yeah.
When you go by ships and you're looking, you're like, let's go 30 feet.
Depending on the load. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
But yeah, I think the freeboard was around there. Yeah. Definitely was not a sport fish where we just got a couple feet to float.
I'd love to have a video of that with the swordfish hanging down.
I'm going to ask the one question everyone wants to know then at this point. How big was that fish?
We measured it out, and it should have been over 300.
Yeah, that's nice.
Again, I don't.
He has a picture, so there is proof.
No. Listen, I wouldn't doubt that story for 1 second. Yeah. But that's a 300-pound swordfish on the hand line, and that's impressive.
But it was fun. The whole crew came out, helped. I remember a couple guys took turns. Originally I was on the hand line back and forth. A couple guys came on there and adding lines, subtracting line, adding balls. It was So it was a fun. I think everybody on that ship will remember that.
Yeah.
They'll be telling their grandkids about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for sharing that story with us.
That's a good one.
Awesome. So you're not in Guatemala yet at this point in your life, are you?
Oh, at this point? No, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
So
that was like maybe 5 years ago.
Oh, so that was a recent story.
Yeah, that's a more recent one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Wow. So all right, so then I want to go back then. So you're going then from Hawaii, right? Or Hawaii, and then you're going to go to Guatemala right from there. You did some shipping lines before,
right? So,
in between that, right? And then you went to Guatemala to join Chris?
Right. So I graduated the Maritime Academy. I went back to Hawaii, fished out of Kewala Basin a bit with the guys we used to fish.
And that's where the world record was caught, right? The blue?
The world record?
World record blue? In Hawaii, like where you used to fish out of, like wasn't like a
the what was that called? 1802? You talking about?
Yeah,
that's the Cornelius Choi's
fish.
Monster.
Yeah, I'm just trying to give a little background of like
that
where,
was
where
the
you
same
come from.
marina, right. Korean Sea.
Yeah,
Korean Sea, exactly.
Yep. There's a lot of debate on that fish, not on weight or anything, but how they caught it. Actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
A good, interesting fact was it was a female deckhand that was on that boat.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why no one talks about that, but it was a female.
That is an interesting fact.
Yeah.
Nice.
If you look at the pictures too, it's a great picture of the fish hung up.
Yeah.
Everybody's like wearing nice clothing, like just on vacation, and you look in the background. I don't know if they have a sailfish or striped marlin, but it was like a large. I think it was like if you look at it, it was like a state record. Some other, I don't remember if it was a sailfish or a striped marlin, but something was happening those days that led up to that
a
fish.
wave of fish came in.
But they, exactly, a wave. But a lot of locals believe that they hooked a yellowfin tuna, and then that fish ate that tuna.
Oh, really?
And it choked on it.
Gotcha.
Because the story was they fought that fish, and it came up dead, and it came off, and they had to circle around to gaff it.
Really?
Right. that kind of lines up with it choking on a fish.
Yeah, a little bit.
And then there's some other people that believe that just because it did come up. I guess they did catch it on a large lure, but some people say no, it just upchucked a yellowfin tuna that they.
If that's the case, I mean that almost sounds like that holds some water there. Yeah. Anyway,
but when I remember as a kid, the story was they hooked the fish, a tuna, and then that 1805.
But it wasn't a world record.
Well, they took turns fighting the fish, but anyways, it's still.
Yeah, no. I mean, like I said, I just want to give some context of like the area where you come from.
It was a heck of a catch. No matter how you slice it, it was a heck of a catch.
For sure. But the reason I wanted to bring that up is because I just wanted to kind of because we're kind of telling your story here today, and that's where you come from. But then you move over to Guatemala, and you accomplish some great things in your time there. You're still accomplishing some great things, obviously. We're here today almost celebrating your achievement as being recognized by the Billfish Foundation and all the sailfish releases that you've had. And I do want to talk here, probably from here on out, about your time in Guatemala and everything that you've achieved so far. And, achieving like the time with your brother and all the great moments and memories that you guys have had there, and and then looking at life and going, man, this is my path in life, and and going back to how we opened up this whole talk about with that quote about average versus good and excellent and elite, and you then take all this foundation that you built for yourself. And growing up in Hawaii, being a billfish mate at a very young age, going through the schooling and laying your foundation as a true waterman and sailor and the whole thing, and then where do you take that? And really, passion speaks for itself when it comes to you, I'm sure. And I don't think we even really need to get into that because I think that's just really obvious. Then you go to Guatemala and you settle in here. And you really take this place to another level.
Right.
You really do.
Well,
you and your brother both did. I think you and your brother, it was safe to say that you and your brother kind of really put Guatemala into this forefront of bill fishing for the world.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to take credit for that. I would say my brother, definitely. My brother paved the way for...
Sure.
A lot of Guatemala. There's several people.
No, there's others. There's others.
Ron Hamlin.
There's no doubt there's others.
Tim Chode. Chode was the founder.
He started the whole deal, yeah.
But he brought in a lot of guys that helped him. Brad Phillips,
Cuban Louie,
Kiwi, and it's. But Chris was a part of that, and he brought me in. That's
right.
So I don't want to. Take too much credit for that.
I'm kind of like talking like both of you when I say that.
Right. No. And I'm trying, I don't mind saying I want to follow in Chris's footsteps. He definitely, that's what he was into. And I followed up with him on that. And just,
sure you did. Just like any good little brother would do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I have my big brother as well, for sure. And I know how that goes. I mean, but it's 2023 coming up in 2008. You were named Marlin Magazine's Captain of the Year. So it's not like you just came up.
Yeah. And the separation between him, I mean, we were, like 7 years apart. So it was, I don't want to say we're just brothers, but, he was more of a father figure than a lot of that, So... a lot of that Guatemala midway, that was just basically following his footsteps, and a lot of knowledge that I have to this day basically came in a lot of conversations that we had. I mean, him and I got into probably more arguments than agreements about what we're gonna do. Why was this good? Why was that bad? What we should be doing? But I mean, that kind of chose our path and made us better in our disagreements. I know to this day, I know you want to do Guatemala, but there's
you talk about whatever you want. Trust me. Well, I'm a springboard for you. That's all.
It kind of brings up an argument that we had in Midway. Again, it was bouncing ideas off each other. I remember coming up to a charter. we were catching a lot of fish that were about in the 400-pound range.
Mm-hmm.
And the other captain on the other boat was making fun of us because we were using 130s every day.
Mm-hmm.
And he was using 80s, and his clients were, you catch a 400-pounder, you can catch that on an 80, no problem. Now they catch that on a 50.
Yep.
Not a problem. But so Chris took some offense to that, and he said, okay, for this next charter, let's pull out the 80s. And man, we had one of the biggest arguments we've ever had in our lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no, we are here for one reason. For that one fish.
For the one fish, right.
And that's the reason why in Hawaii you catch wahoo or mai on 130s, because everybody, small lures, big lures, any time of the year.
Because you never know when that big ass fish is going to bite.
No.
Yeah.
You do not know.
At Midway Atoll, it could happen.
So it ended up over several rum drinks and a long night. We had both agreed that we would put the 130s on the corners, short corner, long corner.
80s on the riggers.
80s on the riggers. I was like, okay, I'm the deckhand, so I'll agree to that. Reluctantly. The third day, after some slow fishing, we saw the biggest fish of our life. To my life, his life, obviously his life, but that fish was 15 or more.
Really?
Yeah.
On an 80.
Ended up being on an 80, and it not only was it an 80,
because of course,
but it was
it's not on the 130.
It was an IGFA 80.
Yeah.
Because we were looking for records too.
Wow.
Which everybody should be fishing for that one fish.
Right.
Because you never know when it's coming. So, like, I fish IGFA line because I don't
know.
want to be embarrassed.
Yeah,
that's
true. Yeah,
hey, man,
No, I didn't have it set
you're
up that
fishing
day.
me and we didn't fish IGFA line. Like, we just caught this fish and it doesn't. I would look. That just wears me out. And the manufacturer stated line thing just.
Right.
If you're going to be out there and you got a chance to be in that spot,
right.
I think you should owe it to your clients to be fishing IGFA line.
I don't disagree with that at all. Yeah, you got to be prepared for.
Yeah.
I mean, just you two guys at the table alone, right? Just speaking for you guys here, when you get to the level of this that you guys are at, and fish the way you do, because you come to play. If you come to play, then you got to be prepared, right? And 100%. I think that's really what it comes down to.
The thing was that at that point, I think in our lives, my brother's life, and that we just wanted that fish.
Yeah,
Didn't matter how we got it.
Yeah, right.
Didn't matter.
Okay.
I think nowadays we want that IGF, that record. But I was 18 years old. I mean, I was just a kid. I remember to this day sitting on that salon. I mean, it was rough water, and I saw it was a long rigger, and it was on it was actually on a purple and black mold craft. Couldn't believe it. Yeah, wide range. Jesus.
Of course.
The cheapest lure we had out.
But they get bit.
Yeah.
Can't argue with it.
It runs great anywhere you put it.
Anywhere you put it. Mm-hmm. It's a wide range is the lure.
But no toothpicks in that one.
Don't put a toothpick in it. That'll screw it up.
Yeah. But this head just comes out of the water, and I'm like running out to I'm yelling, big. I must have been stuttering because he didn't hear me, because as soon as it started jumping 30 seconds later, he's like, oh my God, that's a big. I'm like, the video even had me yelling, yeah, man, And it was 8 hours we were on that fish. And then it ended up chewing through the leader. I had it up on
what a heartbreaker.
Yeah. And again, I was 18. I had on a leader a couple times. I couldn't hold on. I popped my shoulder out of the socket. I tried to hold on.
Wow.
But there was only so much pressure we could put on it. And looking back on it, we should have had a 130 on it.
Yeah,
and
that's all right.
Never fails.
I think Chris and I together, we told that story together a handful of times. And I always look back on it like I could have leadered that fish better.
Mm-hmm.
I was 18. I've only seen so many fish over 800. I should have done my techniques of leadering better. And he always looked at it back like we should have had a 130 on it.
Yeah.
So we always took our own faults.
It's really funny how.
But that's fishing, man. I mean,
that's the thing. That's
you lose
exactly
a fish,
right.
100 ways you could have caught that fish.
Absolutely.
But it's and then you're waiting for that, like.
I tell you, my takeaway
redemption.
from that story, though, in that last comment you just made, it's like, great memory with your brother, right? For sure, and you take that with you for as long as you live, but you were arguing at first. And it's always never ceases to amaze you how fish can humble you.
Yeah.
And it basically humbled you both into agreeing with each other.
Yeah. Well.
Really. I mean, you took a brotherly argument and that fish basically made you guys love each other again.
It took it took a couple of years.
Yeah, well, hey, listen.
I bet you there was a few rums, too.
It was a big fish.
Actually, that's when the story came out. Like, we refused to tell that story until probably 10 years later, add several rums, and then I would say, man, I should have done this, and he said, yeah, but you were right. I'm like, well, yeah, but yeah.
Write when did you first?
Yeah.
When did you first start fishing for billfish on fly?
On fly.
Mm-hmm.
Guatemala.
Yeah, obviously directly with your influence to your brother on that one, I'm assuming.
Right.
Yeah.
So I actually remember that to the day. It was on the Intensity, first season. I think it was my second charter. So again, I'm just getting used to the bait and switch. I don't know much about bait and switch, period.
Right.
Now they got me, Jim got me a charter for fly fishing. I don't know, what are you supposed to do? And I remember sitting down with Chris saying, what do I do? How do you? I know you slow the boat down. You have to go in neutral. They got to cast, and he like kind of went through the scenario a couple times, but there's only so much you can say. And he said you know what? Just do everything to help out the mates.
Okay. And
he had this at that time. My mate was his mate for several years on the Magic, which was a 31 game fisherman. And he said, just watch him and make it easier for him.
Mm-hmm.
Best advice I got. We ended up catching, I think, 10 one day, which is
on fly.
Yeah, still pretty good.
That's way good.
Wow. Today I take you fly fishing, you catch 10 sailfish on fly. Yeah. Hell, we had a bang up day.
Sure,
that's a great.
And
day.
it was like
that's a bang up trip.
Yeah, it was like my second day, and I basically just did everything to help my mate out. So that's where the learning curve came in. Watch the mates do this. Now I got an appreciation what they're doing. Now it kind of slowly snowballed after that. Fly fishing for billfish, I'll always say, from that day on, it is 100% teamwork.
Okay.
It's not like you're Brad Pitt in Miami or Montana flinging to rainbow
river
trouts.
runs through it.
River runs through it. You're not all by yourself. It's a team effort, from the fish to the mates to the captain to now you're casting. Everything got to line up, right.
Yeah. It always does amaze me with the catching and sail on fly. I have yet to do it. But I mean, after this podcast, I think I'm gonna have to take a trip to Guatemala and go fish with you down there. And
catch a few on bait. Get it out of your system. Yeah. The numbers thing. That's usually where it starts. You got to get rid of the numbers thing. You've caught a bunch. Now let's add some pizzazz to it.
Yeah.
The thing about fly fishing is you're not gonna catch as many.
Sure.
But the all action happens. 15 feet away from the boat. You're gonna see the bite.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to. Ray Charles can see the bite. It's just right at your feet.
Right.
So
when you're in this fly fishing deal, I'm sure you've seen a bunch of stuff online, like I have, where guys are fly fishing for saying they're fly fishing, but the boat's still moving ahead pretty rapidly. I've seen some of your videos where you're in neutral, the boat's slowed down, and you're actually seeing the fish behind the boat, and that's just a stickler with a lot of people. There's that whole thing with a 60-foot boat still moving through the water, making 8 knots, and you drop the fly in the water and you're trolling the fly. What you're doing, the fly drops, strip, and you get a bite.
Right. Well, it's difficult to make opinion on a video. because as depending on a certain bite, some fish are finicky, some fish are aggressive. If I start seeing super aggressive fish, I'm slowing down. As soon as the fish comes up and I see the mate grab the rod and he's got control of the rod, I'm slowing the boat down. And as soon as it looks like they're in a good spot, neutral, I'm yelling cast. As long as the boat is in neutral and you yell cast, technically you're fly fishing. Now, if a blue marlin comes up, I ain't slowing down. I'm waiting till the very last second, and I'll throw that boat into neutral and cast, because blue marlin want speed, period.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard. It's hard to tell. Some guy, I mean, I've seen it on videos where guys are making casts and you see the white water in the back and it's plowing away. It's like, man, you're still in gear, bro. But I look at some of my videos where I know I'm in neutral. I mean, it's a habit. I throw, as soon as I neutral, I yell cast. But, sometimes it does look like the boat's still going. You still see a little white water. So it's hard to make judgment on other people's videos and if they are or if they're not. I mean, the only way you know for sure is the guy that's got his hands on the controls. It's tough. And some guy, to me, I've seen it before where accidentally I'll put the boat back in the gear to do a recast and the fish bites. I tell you what, those bites are horrible because they're usually from behind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, straight.
Right. So we're looking for where the fish is closer to the boat than the fly, so they have to turn around and eat the fly going away.
The inside of the
right. You want that sidewards bite or going away bite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If they're coming towards you and they bite, that's no bueno.
Right.
You want that. We're using J hooks on that fly, so
mm-hmm.
you don't want that. They're not going to swallow feathers.
Yeah,
correct.
Feathers don't taste right.
So definitely not.
So yeah, it's hard to make. I remember seeing YouTube videos in the past, and I'm like, hey, these guys are claiming to catch this, but after a few years, it's like, whatever, man, do your thing.
Yeah.
But I will always tell guys that are fly fishing me for the first time, we're gonna do it legit. We're gonna skirt the rules. I mean, I'll if I have to, I'll keep that boat in gear to the last second.
Mm-hmm.
But you're gonna make a cast in neutral, and if we lose speed, I'll put that boat back into gear. But we're gonna cast again and do it all over again. So again, it's a teamwork thing.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
It's not just me up there driving the boat. It's not just the mate teasing them in. It's not the guy just. It's the fish too. The fish has to be the right fish. I mean, the bite will be on in an area, but they're not good for the fly. We got to search for the fish that are good for the fly. There, we got to look for the aggressive ones. So sometimes that's not where the heart of the fish are at. We got to go where they're aggressive. We could see 30 fish in a day and catch one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not good. That's not the fish that we want. You can see 10 fish and catch 8 of them. Well, those were the fish. So it's not just simple, just fishing. It's more of an art form, I guess.
There you go. It just came full circle for me.
There we go.
Man, look at that. He brought it in.
I did, didn't I?
I like that.
Art.
So listen, all these years, right? Everything we talked about today, really. And to bring it full circle, you just brought up the art form. I love that. But tough question. It's so hard to answer.
Let me take a sip here.
Yeah, take a sip. Tough question. So hard to answer. What has all this meant to you? I know. Tough question. Tough question. What has all this meant to you leading up to? And let me kind of tail that off though. What has all of this meant to you in the regards of, like, you took this path, right, and you followed your brother, okay, basically. You diverted a little bit. You did your own thing and anything like that. But then you end up coming full circle. You converge back in, right? What has all this meant to you leading up to it? You lost your brother, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We all lost your brother. All right. And that's the truth. And then you follow up and you probably don't want me to say this or hear this, but you're picking up where you left off.
Absolutely.
Okay? And being honored as a top captain by the Billfish Foundation this year, I think is a storybook in itself. It really, truly is. And that is probably the biggest reason why I'm really proud to have you in here today, because you walked the line, right? And you picked it up and you achieved this, and it's fucking huge. Okay? And I want to say congratulations to you.
I appreciate that.
And I have the deepest, deepest respect for you.
Thank
Give
you.
me your thoughts on what all that means to you.
Well, I mean, just actually when you're just saying that, I kind of makes sense a bit. But I would say when Chris was alive, I was just following in his footsteps, you know. He was big in photography. He was big into, he was big time. And we would have conversations, talk. I was content with just, hey, big brother, you got it, man. We were always competitive. Every day we fished together, whether it was on the same boat, on a different boat, we were competing. But it was friendly competition. Midway, even that day where we argued, we had differences of opinion, and it was even when we were on the same boat, we were competing. You got the right side, I got the left side. I remember Blue Marlin comes up on his side. I was upset. We caught the same fish, but friendly competition. I mean, since he passed, I don't know. I guess I have a different view of fishing. I never wanted to be in the limelight, do his thing where, I mean, not. I was kind of, number two behind him, but it's. I don't want to say it's a tribute, but yeah, I feel like I have to keep his memory going. Lacey's definitely been helping me out with that. With the. I mean, I don't know if I would be here with you guys if it wasn't for Lacey. But, it's...
Well, we never know when you're out of Guatemala, so
well,
or on a ship catching swordfish
right.
off Zanzibar.
With your own two hands.
Right, but it was never public knowledge until,
right.
It's... Yeah. I feel like I have to keep his memory going, and it's basically now what I do is him,
Yeah.
Everything I know, everything I've done is because of him, so I got to keep that going. I mean, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So one thing that we always attempt to do.
It's a tribute. I gotta.
Sure.
I mean, the award, I didn't do it. He did it. Anything I basically do, any successes that I have is because of him.
Well,
because he taught me everything.
Yeah, but you absorbed it and took it and went with it and did your own thing.
Yeah, but the doors didn't open.
Yeah, no,
he opened them.
Yeah,
I didn't open them. He did. The things that I know is because of him or the experiences that he, provided to me. So
the old saying,
I got to keep that going.
You can lead a horse to water. You took the drink and went with it. So, you know what I'm saying? There's, you took it the next way too. So, hats off to you, and you should be proud of that on your own.
Well,
right?
It's probably the best story of generational wealth I've ever heard in my life. Or at least the idea of it. So, one thing that we always try to do on this show, or even as a company as a whole, because Connected by Water is deeper than just being an art studio, and that's one thing we always try to achieve here, is to get underneath the surface, because I say it time and time again that the people in Hollywood don't matter to me. These are the people that matter to me. These are my heroes. These are my famous people, and I want to tell their story. I want to record this and document this for history, and I always want to understand your heart, and thank you for giving that to us today, because to me, fishing is deeper than just catching fish. The actual catching of the fish is just a very small part of what we do. And that's what it means to be connected by water. And I want to thank you for coming in today. And Lacey, I want to thank you greatly for hooking us up and making this happen, being our bartender today.
Yeah, of
right.
course.
And and it's just always a pleasure to see you anyway. So I'm stoked just for that reason alone. And Karl,
I got one question.
yeah, please.
Are we gonna command performance at the Beach Haven White Marlin Invitational Tournament? Or are you coming back with run that game for? Come on, man. Got to get this Guatemala guy comes up to Beach Haven, New Jersey. I mean, that's that's my hometown.
I'm going to be up there this year too. So.
All right, well,
it's a special place. It's my hometown, and
it's a nice area. I tell you that much. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to be sleeping in the cockpit of the Valhalla.
right. Anyway, well, I hope we see you up there, man. I hope we see you up there, and I know Lacey will be up and Jim with the Game Fisherman folks coming, and
of
course our buddy Bernard's building a 55, and
we got the 55 in the works right now, right?
Yeah.
We're
yes,
saying right
we
for
have
the
actually
release.
3 of them at release right now.
Yeah.
Jim
And
Turner's been
pretty.
working hard.
Yeah.
So
we got to get Jim in here.
I know, and we owe a lot to Jim too. I mean, I wouldn't have met Mike if it wasn't for Jim Turner either, and obviously he's my boss too. But I love him as a human as well.
Jim opened actually a lot of doors for my brother. Beginning of Guatemala.
Sure. Jim's awesome. I mean, it really just hanging out with him that one night in the casino up there in Atlantic City, just great guy.
Yeah. And
really,
he was
really
Mike's original boss.
Right.
Actually, he owned Mike's Game Fisherman, and then sold Intensity to him 16 years ago.
Yep.
Nice.
So he's been
full
fishing in
circle.
Guatemala.
Again, full circle.
Yeah, right.
Well, now 17. Is this the 17th
I don't
year?
know, man.
You're
It's after 10 years. It doesn't.
10 years is the mark, right? Everything else is just kind of gray after that.
But that was a full circle. Jim and Chris, and that's when I was running the Intensity, and then
eventually all things lead in the one and the river runs through it, right?
Right.
That's what they say.
Let's not be Brad Pitt.
Right. I had to. Cool. All right. So people can fish with you, right?
Of course they can.
Right. And they're going to go down to the Intensity Lodge.
Intensity Lodge, Guatemala.
Yep.
IntensitySportFishing.com.
All right.
Welcome anybody to check it out.
Yeah, and I could say, I mean, if you've listened to this podcast and you don't want to fish with Mike, then you're a fool. Right? That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
All right. I want to thank a couple of our sponsors here today that we didn't thank in the beginning. We do have to name our do-gooder, right? And if you'll just entertain me, or whatever, you know what I mean.
I'm loving this Papa's Pilar.
Are you really?
Way. Oh yeah.
It's good, isn't it?
I know Mike is.
Are you drinking
too.
the sherry cask?
Yeah. It's
no,
like a
drinking the dark.
The dark, yeah.
Yeah, the dark. That's
the
all
one
good.
that's the one that's
I am
empty.
Drinking the sherry.
Yeah.
Sherry
the
cask.
one that we finished.
Yeah.
What?
Throw the lid off. I tell Dennis we start this deal. Throw the lid off. Let's go.
All right, this week's Starbright Solutions do-gooder is Nicholas Sanzone, who is an environmental programs coordinator at the City of Satellite Beach City Hall, and he is also the go-to person for the many ongoing research projects at Sampson's Island, and Corey has had the privilege of working side by side with Nick in freezing and hot water. But no matter what, rain or shine, his positive attitude shines through. If anyone deserves a do-gooder, high five, he does. So Starbright basically awards him with our bucket of fun, which we bring out every episode, right? That's got all of our goodies in there and all environmentally friendly products. And I think that's the best part about that company. As we always say, it's like not only are they environmentally friendly, they're also really, really effective. So it's a win-win. So thank you to do-gooder. I want to also thank you to the W Sauce. I can say unequivocally, Yanni was dipping his chips in the W Sauce before the episode started, and we used it on Christmas, and it was just great just to dip those little chicken bites in there. We got the Fire Shower, the Vegan Shower, but I am a biggest fan of America's Worcestershire, so we're very happy.
Worcestershire.
Yeah, to have the W Sauce on board and Finor sunglasses, which basically, if I'm outside, they're on my face. Right, you have them on your head.
Yep.
And
great lenses.
Great lenses, great frames, great product.
Yep.
And
great tackle.
Then they definitely see fish.
Great history company.
Yep. Absolutely, 100%. So we want to thank them for being a part of our family, and we definitely want to thank, if you're in the market for a new truck or vehicle, you go over to Joey Cardi Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and pick yourself up a new vehicle. It is the holiday time of year, so what can I say? Buy your wife an awesome present. right? Like the Wagoneer.
The Wagoneer. It's a good one.
Which is pretty solid, right? And, of course, Lacey already mentioned Papa's Pilar Rum. We're very happy to be part of the Papa's Pilar family.
Yep.
And we love that they're keeping the Hemingway tradition alive and remind us from never to be a spectator. And that sounded like a record autopilot, but I do want to say one thing about the Papa's Pilar family. Actually, I can say 1,000 things about the Papa's Pilar family. But, Mike, Steve, Nick, Johnny, all those guys over there, they're just the best. Yep. And they really took care of everyone over the holidays.
They got a great
product. When you're part of, but they took care of us. So when you're part of the Papa's Pilar family, yep. You really know it. So I want you to know that is definitely, when you buy a bottle of rum, you're not only buying into just the best bottle of rum there is on the market, you're buying into a family that really does take care of their people. So we're definitely proud of that. And if you're in the area, Lighthouse Point, also visit Papa's Raw Bar. You can sample something from the Connected by Water sushi menu. And if you want a new boat, if you want a new big boat,
Release Boatworks or Game Fisherman.
There you go. Absolutely. Custom built, handcrafted. Lovely, Absolutely. Lovely, right?
In the lovely town of Egg Harbor, New Jersey.
Right, absolutely.
Keeping the boat building tradition of New South Jersey alive. It's an important thing. It's a rich tradition in South Jersey.
And I got to say, just from the experience of being here the last couple of years, that is a great fishery, and just some of the greatest people. They do have a passion for it up there, and that's always great to see.
Incredible history.
Yep, 100%. Mike?
Thank you for having me here.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you opening up your heart to us today and just sharing all that and sharing those great stories. And it's been really a pleasure having you in here. And, it's really been a great pleasure having you in here. So, appreciate it, man.
Thank you. All
right. You good?
All good.
Your ego is not your amigo. Always do your best. And then at the end of the day, just let God do the rest. And do not ever forget that no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, we're all connected by water.
Skull.
Skull.